Oh, who's on here right now? Still won't tell me that. All right, y'all. So it's that time of the day. I'm live. Any questions that you have for me, make sure you comment so I can answer them. Unable to connect with chat. Something's wrong with the chat on my end, I think. I'm trying to see how I can fix this. And okay. All right, I just popped out the chat and I'm able to see comments. I'd rather it just be on the side though. Let me see if I can put this back. All right, so right now I see number 2, something for me to go over. I'm gonna do that. Just keep commenting. For whatever reason, I can't see the live comments, but when I pop out the chat, then I can see what comments have been made. Might have to end this and then re-upload. I'm not sure. All right, let me get what number 2 is here. Okay, tan A is 15 over 8. And A is between 180 and 270. And so we want tan A over 2. Remember that tan is y over x. and x squared plus y squared equals hypotenuse squared. Okay. It should be pretty straightforward to solve for the hypotenuse here. Remember that you're only using cosine of A to try to figure out your tan of A over 2. Pay attention to what quadrant you're in, though. A is between 180 and 270. So if you're finding the cosine of A, think about what that needs to be because you're in this quadrant. For number 3, when you cross multiply, how should the answer be set up? Well, there isn't any cross multiplication going on in this lesson today. So for number 3, you're given cosine of A already. So all you need to do is plug that into the formula. Oh, for last lesson. The only cross multiplication for last lessons in 5 and 6. Other questions y'all have for me? I mean, the data looks good so far. 14 people have done it. 7.14 out of 8. That's great. Only 3 viewers out here saying anything. If you don't need any help, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Okay, so today's work is pretty much very similar to yesterday's, where like we need to know what cosine of A is. And so um, in this example that I was showing before, this is number 2, going to be a positive number. As a hypotenuse is a length, and length needs to be positive. Okay, remember that cosine is x over the hypotenuse. So if tan is y over x, and the hypotenuse is 17, because I'm in quadrant 3, this is 180 to 270, that's quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 has the characteristic of a negative x and a negative y. That's why the tangent wound up being positive, because your negatives would just cancel out. So that 15 and 8 were originally negative, but the negatives canceled out in the simplification. And so cosine of A is negative 8 over 17. And then you just plug that into the formula, where 17 is like clearly your LCD. You need me to go any further than that? Yes. Okay. So tan of A over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of A over 1 plus cosine of A. So you could think of it this way: anytime you plug in a negative fraction, your formula is going to pretty much flip. Usually we're used to seeing 1 minus over 1 plus, but if you plug in a negative, then minus negative becomes a positive, and plus negative becomes a negative. So that would be plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 8 over 17 over 1 minus 8 over 17. And then 17 is my LCD in that complex fraction. Yes, sine is y and cosine is x. The 17s cancel out on the back end of both of those. 17 times 1 is 17, plus 8. And then on the bottom, 17 minus 8. Okay, and so you just simplify that. Now it's all dependent on our original angle. A is in quadrant 3. Cut those boundaries in half. 180 divided by 2 is 90. 270 divided by 2 is 135. That brings you to a quadrant 2 angle. Right, because quadrant 2 is 90 to 180. So 90 to 135 lies in that region. And so you have to think about what are the characteristics of quadrant 2. Quadrant 2, your x is negative and your y is positive. Okay, so if we're thinking about tangent of an angle there, tangent's going to have to be negative because it's y over x. And since my x is negative, then this answer right here that we were doing is going to be the negative of that answer, not the positive. Okay. One thing to keep in mind with these questions today is that yesterday there were square roots left. Today there are not going to be. Okay, everything is going to work out to be a perfect square in both the numerator and the denominator. If it doesn't work out like that, then you must simplify or you did something wrong. Everything works out to be, it's going to be a fraction still, but it's a, there aren't going to be any square roots in it. Okay. Other questions? Phone's going off right now with all these people doing assignments late. All right, I'm going to take this to mean that we don't have any more questions. All right, y'all, it's been real. So tomorrow, it's going to be a slightly different lesson for tomorrow. We're going to go back to like trig equations thing where we like solve for an angle and then we like find the reference angle and then we find all the other angles in the different quadrants. Fun stuff. That's what's going to be for like the next 3 days. So level 1 through 3 in 3 different days. But maybe you guys will have more questions tomorrow. Stay safe out there, y'all. Email me if anything.